Shout out to Cats Pod.
A great defensive play for Montana State.
Touchdown, Tommy Milan is electrifying.
Welcome to the Cats Pod. What's up, Podcats? I just gotta say, I heard our intro music for the first time in too long. I missed it here. How you doing, Eric?
Oh, not bad, man. Not bad. Yeah, it has been a hot minute since we recorded. It took about this long to get over the North Dakota State loss. I mean, let's be honest.
I'm not even gonna fully lie. Like, after that championship game, I know we did like the episode the week after, but my heart wasn't really in it. I needed some time. Needed some time to process, but I feel like I'm ready to get back in. I'm ready to dip my toe back in.
I think now's a good time to jump back in. We've processed it. I still absolutely hate North Dakota State, so let's not get that. Let's not get confused there.
Yeah.
Still hate them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my whole premise about who cares about the Grizzlies at this point still rings true. Like, it's North Dakota State and then everyone else after.
I mean, the Grizz are making some moves this offseason that are kind of putting me on edge. Okay.
Well,
I'm not saying they're at that level that I'm worried about it, but like they're making some moves that got me on edge. I'll put it that way.
Let's think about it this way. With the Grizzlies, I think it would end up being 18 transfers.
Yeah, a lot of transfers.
There's a high likelihood that they don't even start a kid from Montana at that team.
There is. There very much is.
Would you rather live and die with a team of Montana kids, with a splash of out of state, or just out of state?
I mean, I love seeing the Montana guys out there. And I'm not saying that the Montana guys are not enough, and you are right. I would rather roll the dice with the Montana guys.
I do too. I would too. I mean, we've been pretty spoiled with superstars from Montana.
Oh yeah.
I think it's going to continue being that way for a while, but I'm telling you, man, when I see Adam Jones and Taco Dowler out on that field, it's a whole lot more special than somebody that doesn't. Mm-hmm. I mean, being from Montana is a big deal. I mean, it always is. It always will be.
Yeah.
And there's a high likelihood the Grizzlies won't even have that at all.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't know how it's going to play out, but we did crush in-state recruiting. We do have that going on. All the top recruits in Montana are going to Montana State. So that is a big deal. And it may not affect the roster this upcoming season, but going into the future and as far as stability and longevity, I think it's going to matter a ton.
I do too. I mean, the roster construction for the Cats and the Grizz are so different from each other. Yeah. I mean, honestly, they couldn't be more different. The Bobcats have shown a real commitment to building from the bottom up for something that just turns into that, basically that NDSU machine, that SDSU machine that you just have, national champion aspirations every single year. Not saying that's what you should have this year, but I mean, honestly, the cohesiveness that this team should have, because it's not like the backups didn't get plenty of playing time last year.
They did play a lot. Every second half. They played almost as much time as the starters during the regular season.
Yeah. So I feel a lot more comfortable, and I'd rather, even if the Bobcats lose a couple, I'd rather watch them lose with a team full of Montana kids than not a single one on the team.
This is definitely something we're going to have to come back to. We're going to have to bring our resident Grizz expert on, Mr. Brad Armour, so he can give us the full breakdown of all those 18 recruits, because I'm definitely not going to do that research. It's not going to happen. That's not something I'm going to do.
I figured now that I've had several weeks to process everything, I'd give my new most hated teams list for the listeners.
Okay. Is it a top 3, top 5? What are we at? Top 5, I think, is what it'll probably be.
We can go top 5.
Yeah,
we can go top 5.
Okay.
I already mentioned number 1.
Number 1 is solid.
Yes.
Hasn't changed.
I hate NDSU with every fiber of my being.
Yep.
I can't even explain it. And the fact that they brought almost, I think they lost one guy. Is it?
Yeah,
They
it's something like
back.
that. Yeah.
I mean, it just sparks the hatred even more. Like, I
Yeah.
hate them.
It's so tough.
Number 2 is obviously the Grizzlies. Will always hate the Grizzlies, but I just they're not. It's not the same kind of hatred anymore.
Yeah.
Number 3, Suck State.
Okay. I knew it was gonna be that. Okay, yeah.
They did the same thing the Grizzlies did. They just brought in nothing but transfers. They just totally give up on anybody local, and they go after other schools' dropouts, essentially.
Wasn't there in their NIL money that was getting advertised all over, like the $20 million in NIL money? Didn't that turn out not to be exactly true?
I don't even really know, and I probably should pay better attention to that, but regardless of NIL money, I just don't understand how you can succeed when you just hodgepodge a team of random people together.
Yeah, it's so hard to stay cohesive. Like the fact that South Dakota did it this year, USD, is impressive because they had a hodgepodge team of players from all over the country and they made a semifinal game. So, but I think that is the exception and not the rule.
Yeah, I also think that Bob Nielsen is maybe one of the better coaches in all of the FCS, and now he's retired. So
yeah,
maybe they'll slip back to where they belong at the bottom.
They'll probably slip to the middle if we're being real honest. Okay, we need a 4 and a 5.
Number 4, I think this is a pretty easy Idaho.
Okay, Idaho. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought
really,
Eastern Washington might get that spot.
Oh, they
really hate the red field, so I was like, they might be 4th. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Eastern, they make a case with the field, but they're so irrelevant at this point that I don't even feel like it's worth picking on them anymore. It's kind of like Northern Colorado.
You do have a point there. That does make sense.
Yeah, but Idaho, same thing. I mean, they managed to bring back quite a few of the guys that hit the portal, but still. They multiple years in a row. They rack up all these transfers in, and I'm not saying transfers are a bad thing at all. We have some of our favorite players, Julius Davis, Ty McCullough, are transfers. We love them. I'm just saying your core is more important than just building a team of transfers.
Yeah, it's got to be a fine line, and we talked about it all year long. With how we have these solid Montana guys that keep the culture alive, that cat culture. And then we bring in transfers to fill in gaps where gaps may need to be filled. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that, what Idaho is doing, now they're probably on the right track, but it doesn't erase the fact that I can't stand them.
No.
That game this year just left a bad taste. The second game this year just left a bad taste in my mouth watching that former quarterback of theirs be a little wimp on the field.
So is number 5 Eastern Washington?
So number 5, I'm going to go ahead and give this a tie between the 2 home fields that I hate.
Okay.
Northern Arizona and Eastern Washington.
Okay. I didn't think that the Lumberjacks were going to catch any shade just randomly.
It's 100% because it's hard to play there.
Yeah.
It'll never not be hard to play there, even for a Montana team who plays at somewhat of elevation. You're so high up there that it's just different.
Yeah. And wasn't that the place that Ty told us kind of smells funky?
No, that's Greeley. That's Northern Colorado.
Northern Colorado. Okay, I was getting the northerns mixed up. I'm glad you caught that. I don't want to throw any more shaded Northern Arizona, when unneededly.
Yeah. I wanted to put South Dakota State in there, but it's just not a hateable team.
They are not very hateable, honestly.
I tried. I really did try to put an argument in my head together for why South Dakota State should be in there, but for whatever reason, I just don't hate them. I don't understand. I don't know why that is.
I think
I might need a therapist to help me unlock that one, but
they're potentially the only team that has been beaten up by North Dakota State more than the Bobcats. I think that's why we have a soft spot for South Dakota State, because they've gotten their championships good for them and everything, and they've had their run, but a majority of their history is not so kind when it comes to the Dakota marker and everything.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my new adjusted top 5, which that top 5 looked very different last year at this time.
Definitely
Very,
did.
very.
Definitely.
I mean, North Dakota State was in a solid 2 there, but yeah, never again. Never again will they fall below number 1.
Yeah. Well, we've got some Bobcat news to catch up on real quick. We've got some new coaches, some new players we're going to talk about, and one inductee into the Hall of Fame. I figured we would start off with the coaching staff, and the first one to bring up, our guy, Marcus Monaco. Way to keep rising up the ranks.
What a dude.
Nobody deserves it more than Mr. Marcus Monaco. We can tell you that.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's so cool to see him rise up through the ranks.
Yep.
And honestly, I feel like he's done a great job in that it's finally getting, or not finally, but it's getting realized kind of what he has to offer. And I couldn't be happier for the kid.
Yeah. It is definitely huge to look forward to. Just watching his rise up through the ranks and everything has been awesome. Just a guy that I've known for quite a few years now, and it's just so fun to see him do well, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Plus, friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod. Always a friend of the pod. Our other new coach is Mr. Pete Sturbick. I think it's Sturbick.
Yeah, sounds right.
I don't know exactly how to pronounce it. That's bad on me. I'm supposed to be the pronunciation guy, and I didn't look deeper into this. That's my bad.
If you want somebody to butcher a name, you just toss that over to me.
Yeah, I should have given you that name. I should have given you that. A Montana guy, adjacent, I think. Montana adjacent. Coached in the state of Montana. Coached at Tech. Boo Tech. Go Dogs. But he comes back to Montana, calling it a dream job. Seems like he said all the right things in his press conference, all the things that we love to hear. Honestly, very excited to see what this guy can do.
Yeah, I the minute I saw it, I didn't hate it. I mean, he ran what was an extremely talented school at the Colorado School of Mines, I believe is what it was.
Yep.
They were at the very tip top of Division II football.
Yeah. Number one offense.
I think that he has a lot to bring to the table, and I honestly think that his potential has only been scratched at because he doesn't have the talent like he'll have now.
Yep.
I mean, how could you not want that job when you have all these insanely talented players, like generational players at a school like Montana State, even with Julius Davis, Taco Dowler, Adam Jones.
Yeah.
I mean, and one of the best offensive lines in all of the FCS still.
Yeah. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. I fully expect a very high-powered offense next year.
Yep.
And now I think it'll be even better.
Yeah. Offensively, I think things are going to stay pretty solid going forward. There are a couple of question marks as far as things go offensively, which we'll get into later in this episode, I'm sure. But the thing that excited me about Coach Pete was we're on a first-name basis now, me and Coach Pete, just so you know. The thing that excited me was he just seemed genuinely pumped up to go back up into the booth. He was like, I love calling plays from the booth. I love being up there. He didn't seem like he loved being on the sideline so much, and so I was excited for him that he gets to be in a place where he feels more at home. And he feels at home in Bozeman, and he feels at home up in that booth, which I like to hear.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was a really good hire, and if we have learned anything from our trusted head of the team, Mr. Brett Vegan, is that he makes very, very wise coaching decisions.
Yeah.
He showed us all last year exactly what he's capable of doing. I think we all absolutely loved the result in his coaching decisions and his hire. And I think that there's absolutely no reason to not think that everything that he's done this year will play out exactly like we hope it will.
For sure. He hasn't missed yet. Not that I can think of. I can't think of a single miss when it came to a coaching hire, bringing somebody into the program where they weren't a perfect fit for Montana State culture and Montana State football.
Yeah, I mean, the whole team is about culture, and you have to find. And I feel like Vegan has an idea who has the culture he wants and who doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of where he goes there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That. Yeah, no, I'm happy. I'm happy with it. I think our special teams is gonna be pretty damn good this year.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be pretty tight with Mr. Marcus Monaco. Yeah, no, and they were great. Biased. Yeah, just a little biased, just a lot biased. Not even ashamed of it. Not even ashamed at all.
Yeah, just everyone remember, this is a completely biased and 100% irrational podcast. It always will be.
The least rational podcast on the airwaves. You know, that's what we got here. Two pieces of Bobcat news to catch up on before we get to our signings. The first, Junior Adams is going to be a coach for the Cowboys.
Yeah, okay? That's pretty sweet.
That is pretty cool if it wasn't the Cowboys. I can't really get too excited about it. I can cheer for one guy on the Cowboys now. That's all they're getting. Cheering for one guy and one guy only.
It does suck that it's the Cowboys, but boy, I sure love the opportunity for him. I mean, he's come a long way.
Yeah. Very, very cool for him to be there. Great for another Montana State guy to be in the NFL ranks. Love seeing that. You know.
Yeah.
Builds the program.
Definitely shows what you can get from being a part of Montana State's football team.
Yeah. And another NFL guy, Mr. Alex Singleton, will soon be in the Montana State Hall of Fame. Shout out to him.
Well deserved.
Yeah. He never misses an opportunity to come back either. I feel like every opportunity he gets, he's on the sideline and he's at these CAT games, and love to see him there just every single time. Very cool dude.
Yeah, you couldn't ask for a better face of, Montana State right now, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a finalist for the Walter Payton Award until his unfortunate injury. He was absolutely tearing it up. He's a team captain for the Denver Broncos.
Yep.
I mean, it truly is. It is such a good look for the program when one of your all-time studs is succeeding at that level and also is an A+ quality person.
Yeah,
it's a definitely a shiny star on the Montana State program.
Oh yeah, it helps out a whole lot. Very excited about it.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool.
Awesome. And now for our new additions to the Bobcats, the people that you get to look forward to seeing play in the blue and gold in the future. We got a decent mix here and a lot of DBs.
Yes.
A lot of DBs.
It's I think that I actually don't even know where these guys are, what the Cats' mindset is going into this transfer window and everything and bringing players in. But once again, with bringing only 2 transfers in, you have to believe that this is going to be, these guys are upstanding citizens with above average football play. I don't know what their plan going in was, but the end product, I think I'm pretty happy with it. I think it shows a lot of confidence.
It does show a lot of confidence in the roster. And I wonder how much of it is confidence in the roster and how much of it is... It's hard to get these transfers during this early portal when you're playing all the way until the national championship.
Yeah.
You're missing out on a lot of that time that other teams were sitting back, and we saw this last year where we brought in a lot of quality transfers at the early transfer portal because there was more time to do the recruiting and everything like that. So we'll see what happens in the late window for sure.
Yeah. I think, just the two transfers that these community college guys, I like that, number one, because that's an extra year of eligibility.
Yeah.
And the one was I can't remember his name. I can't even see it here, but the one was a community college, one of the all community college award or guys. I'm trying to think what it was called. I think it was the all community college third team or something like that.
Yeah.
He won that as a DB. He's young, obviously coachable.
Yeah.
Yeah, really like that signing. It seems like that'll fit really well.
So the two transfers that we got in, number one, we got Bryant Meredith, defensive back from Pleasant Hill, California. Definitely lost a lot of DBs, so it makes sense why we would go that direction when it comes to these signings. Played for NAU for a minute. So that's an interesting journey that this guy's been on. NAU to Fullerton College and then to Montana State. So he's been around. Coach Jody Owens seems very excited about this guy. He said Bryant is very, very twitchy and explosive and has some position flexibility. So he can play multiple positions on the field. Definitely a plug-and-play kind of guy. Must be a pretty smart dude if he's capable of filling that many roles, you know. Yeah. How do you? Do you want me to do the pronunciation? Do you want me to? Do you want me to butcher it? Okay.
I don't even want to try.
I apologize also because this guy is a podcat. He followed us back instantly after I followed him. Very excited about this dude. He seems like a cool dude. Followed us right away. Okay. Ife Oalete is what I'm going to say that is. And he can correct me, hopefully, just like if you're listening to this, if you see anything, correct me, please. Because I feel like you might be one of my new favorites. Don't even know anything about you.
I think he was the one that was all community college third team.
Okay.
If I saw that right. Maybe it was that Bryant Meredith, but I thought it was him. But either way, the notes they put out on him are pretty intriguing. Both those guys have a lot of really redeeming qualities, according to our coaches anyway.
Yep. And we're going to trust those coaches right away, you know.
Yeah. I also like that both those guys, they claim have position flexibility.
Yeah. That is a big plus.
It's so, I mean, and we saw it this year. Being flexible on your defense is very important when you have major injuries.
Yep.
So being able to move guys around to different positions that are, maybe are a little weaker than others is extremely helpful in the course of a really long season, especially when you have January aspirations.
Yep. You definitely have to have that depth. You got to have that depth. It is one of the major strengths of the Bobcats last season, in their historic season, was the depth of the team and specifically the depth of the defense.
Yeah. I was pretty happy to see both those guys. I think they'll fit right in. I don't know if they're immediate starters or, they're just going to try and grow. But I think that either way, they're going to be really, really helpful additions to what is a somewhat depleted secondary.
It's going to be some exciting news coming out of the offseason, coming out of training camps, of which DBs are going to step up to fill the shoes of those guys that we lost. Because I know we had a lot of signings, and there's a lot of youth at that position. So there's opportunity. If they go for it, there's opportunity on that field. There's opportunity for every single snap of the season.
Yeah, and I think we saw a pretty good sign of who is going to be, in those starting positions. I mean, we'll see more as spring ball gets going and through the summer. But I mean, we had some pretty spectacular play from like Taden Gray specifically. oh, his name's escaping me, but number 22, something, is it Carr? Something like that.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Carr.
Takari Carr. There we
Yep.
go. Those two guys specifically were total studs.
Mm-hmm.
And then Taki Yu as a safety showed a whole lot of growth, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Tyson Pottinger played a lot and played well, I thought. And then we still get Caden Dowler back. I mean, I think the secondary is stronger than, maybe it gets credit for, just because it is a lot of new faces.
Yeah.
But I mean, I watched some pretty spectacular play from Takari Carr and Caden Gray, which makes me a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely not very worried when it comes to those guys. I think it's gonna be pretty solid. And picking up these guys to help out and the depth and to create competition is always a good idea.
Oh yeah. I definitely agree. I do love that one of the February signings was another Montana kid.
Oh yeah, that definitely helps out our arguments a lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, that puts it at 11 for just this class.
Yeah.
That is 11 total studs too. It's not like they're no-name guys. I mean, these guys are pretty well respected for being, the top 11 guys in the state of Montana for the most part.
The starting 11 out of the state of Montana.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is our Montana guy in the February high school editions was Jackson Lieberg from Helena, Montana. Helena High guy, all-state choice in basketball and track and field, added as a wide receiver. And Coach Sam Mix had some very, very kind words to say about the guy. So we've seen some really good wide receivers out of the state of Montana the last few years. A few come to mind. And so if Jackson wants to be the next one in that lineage, we would all be very excited about that.
And the thing that Jackson has he has size.
Yeah.
He's 6'3", 185 pounds. They'll put some weight on that frame. I mean, this guy being all-state in track, I mean, he's obviously fast.
Yep.
Once again, it's really fun to see the Montana kids stay in the state and come play for the Bobcats, because it's so easy to root for a guy like Jackson.
Yeah. And it's awesome to see those. I think being one of those multi-sport athletes is more important than people give credit for sometimes, because there's a lot that goes into specialization now. And you got people that, I mean, even when I was a kid, I played basketball and almost basketball alone from the time I was in like the 5th grade on. And if I would have branched out, done more sports, I probably would have been a better athlete. Yeah.
The other thing is, this is another somewhat position of need.
Oh yeah.
We still have a lot of really good players in that wide receiver room. Taco's there. Oh gosh darn, my name recall right now is not what it should be. But there are several really good players there. But we did lose Ty McCullough. We lost Rohan. We lost Junior and Aiden Garrigan. And so, I think it's kind of important that we restock that wide receiver room, especially with the most talented kids that they can find.
And it's also, it's preparation time for the Cats pod as much as it's preparation time for Montana State. Like, we are going to learn a new team, and we get to fall in love with a new team all over again.
I mean, I still think that Zachary Dodson Green, that's who I was trying to think of. I think that he's going to be a big part. He looked really good in his playing time. We still have maybe the deepest tight end room in all of FCS. And, with Taco kind of leading the way, I think it's, and we still have a ton of freshmen coming up right now. that we don't even know anything about.
Yeah.
So it is somewhat of a position of need, that wide receiver room, but I also feel pretty safe with where we're at right now.
Yeah. I am very much looking forward to getting one of those first those press books that you get with the full roster in it, all the numbers listed and everything, and just learning a whole new team. Very excited about that. Some of our other high school signings, we got a kicker out of Rock Springs, Wyoming. Second of 2 Wyoming guys during this. Ife Oalete. Sorry if I mispronounced your name again. Not that guy. Sorry, I missed one. My bad. There's 1 Wyoming guy.
Yeah.
One Wyoming guy, 3 guys from Texas. Come on, Ben. You got to be better than this, You got to be better than this. All right, we got a kicker though. We got a kicker, 4A All-Star honors as a kicker. First team all-conference kicker, second all-conference punter. So our boy Marcus has some young talent to play with to figure out maybe who's going to take over for Mr. Brendan Hall.
Yeah. I think it was pretty obvious when Brendan left that we're going to have to find somebody to fill his shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Money Miles seems to have locked up the job for the time being.
Yep.
But once again, the kicking job is probably the most disrespected on the football field.
Yeah.
I mean, all it takes is one missed kick and they become everybody's least favorite person in the entire world. I would never want to be a kicker.
No.
Ever.
Mm-hmm.
But thankfully other people do. So
yeah. And just as a punter, somebody to control field position, so important to the game.
Yeah.
And
underutilized
in most programs.
Yeah. So, I think we saw with Brendan Hall this year how a punter can truly change games when you get somebody that's on his level.
Oh, yeah. Constantly pinning people inside the 10-yard line changes the game. Puts your defense in a good position.
Return. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I love seeing a kicker come in, especially one that Marcus has 4 years to get him ready.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a significant amount of time to turn this kid into Brendan Hall 2.0.
The only thing sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I don't think we've actually said the guy's name yet, which is a slight faux pas on us. His name is Michael Rubich, and I have one piece of criticism here. I think he might be just a little short,
Yeah, I mean, you can't all be 6'9".
He's not 6'9". Okay, he's not 6'9".
I mean, does it bother you that we lose that joke now? It's gone.
I mean, I'm keeping it alive.
Yeah,
trying to.
Yeah, it just won't be the same. We can't just say, "Oh, hey, do you know this guy's 6'9"?
No, can't do that.
Do you ever hear that?
And that's not fun with Mr. Mike coming in because he's 6 foot.
Yeah.
There's nothing funny about being 6 foot. You're just like average height. You're slightly above average height. Like, what am I supposed to make fun of here?
When Money Miles graduates, we have Money Mike next.
Money Mike after Money Miles. Yeah. That would be pretty solid. That would be pretty solid.
Or if you wanted to run 2 syllables in each one, Money Michael.
Michael.
That might.
Oh yeah, that hits. I like that. I like Money Michael a lot.
Yeah. The next one we have Tim Thomas II, a DB from Houston, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
This was a big one. This was a big get.
Yeah.
This guy, I'm pretty sure was highly recruited, and he chose Montana State over, several other people. But not only was he a stud in football, he was also a stud in track, which, another multi-sport athlete, fast, twitchy, all the things you kind of want in the DB. Kind of looks like he them.
Yep.
But pretty excited about this one. I mean, the recruiting pipeline in Texas has been really strong, and we've had, the talent that we've had succeed at Montana State from Texas has been, it's been good. Really, really good.
I don't know if it all has to do with NJB, but I just want to say once again, shout out to NJB, because I feel like a lot of these Texas signings and transfers have to do with him.
That might be someone we need to reach out to. I would love to have a conversation with him.
We really do, because I've never seen. Well, maybe he doesn't speak in the press or anything as a point, but I don't think I've ever really heard him speak or anything. But just from the way everybody talks about him, seems like an awesome dude.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's tagged in every one of these kids' posts.
Yeah, they all love him.
He's obviously part of it. Yeah. But yeah, I think this recruiting pipeline. I'm still a little sour on the Drew Polidor deal. So sorry,
Yeah.
but
sorry, Drew. Still love you.
Yeah,
but
sorry.
It just hurts.
Love you,
it just hurts.
But ouch.
It hurts. Ouch. Feeling a little hurt.
This Texas Montana pipeline's really good, and that was the one that kind of stung. But I think that this kid could be, kind of a Drew Polidor type. I mean, if you read his descriptions, it kind of reminds you of Polidor. So, next up, and I just have to introduce this one.
Oh, greatest!
I have to introduce.
I won't even say anything about it. You just go ahead.
I texted Ben a while ago,
over a month ago.
Yeah, this guy posted that an offer had been extended from Montana State, and I texted him and said, "This guy needs to be signed because he has the coolest name I've ever heard."
Mm-hmm.
This guy's name is Major Thornhill, and not only does he have the coolest name ever, he is from a town called Gunter.
Gunter. Just a solid Gunter, Texas. Major Thornhill from Gunter, Texas.
That is that is the coolest description. I don't know. What do you call that? That's like the coolest line ever. Major Thornhill from Gunter, Texas.
Yeah. I'm just saying, over the next 4 years, 4 to 5 years, depending on what happens with eligibility rules, if Major Thornhill does not have the Chester A. Arthur beard at one time during his college career, I think it's a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
If he doesn't have the mutton chops going down into the mustache, I'm not going to be happy.
See, I have a different picture in my head of Major Thornhill. I don't know what it looks like. This is weird. But,
he's a Civil War major. That's what I'm thinking. Major Thornhill. I
hear Major Thornhill, I think of like the pictures of Brian Urlacher or some just super stud like that, or just one of those guys that's just tougher than everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we can probably stop talking about Major Thornhill's cool name, cool town, and cool looks.
Just saying.
The coaching staff had a ton to say about him.
Oh yeah.
They basically said he was extremely high on their list, but getting highly recruited by some bigger schools.
Mm-hmm.
And so getting him is kind of a huge get, I think.
Yeah. Talked about how he plays through injury, how he's just a tough dude. And, I mean, hate to bring it back to the name again, but if your main name is Major Thornhill, you're not soft.
No.
You cannot be soft and have your name be Major Thornhill. So he's definitely a strong dude.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, he's coming in at a time where we have an insanely stacked defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
That he's a D end. He can pal around with Kenny Iden for a year. That should be helpful to anybody.
Oh yeah, that is great experience. Learning from those guys and that coaching staff is going to be insane. Yeah,
I mean, that's one part of our team that we really. I mean, we graduated one of the best Bobcats ever, but I mean, we have some serious talent left on that defensive line.
Mm-hmm. And coming out of high school at 6'3", 210, you know he's going to be a monster. Like, as soon as he gets into an actual Division I weight training program and everything like that, he's going to turn into an absolute monster.
Yeah. And you know what's really cool about Major Thornhill?
What?
Nobody at NDSU has a name that cool.
No, not a single one. No cool names whatsoever. No cool names at all.
Yeah. So suck it, NDSU. We have a cooler name than you.
We got this win. Okay, we got this win. We have a cooler name. We got Taco Dowler, and we got Major Thornhill and Titan Fleischman. We're so much cooler when it comes to names.
We are. That's the truth. I mean,
It's
we
a
have
fact.
the Montana State Bobcats have more character than anyone else.
Yeah.
And you can take that two ways. They have good character, number one, but they also they are characters.
Yeah. They definitely are. We love our characters too. I'm gonna miss Rohan so much. Just because he was such a character. But there's gonna be new characters. There's gonna be new characters. There's gonna be new people to fall in love with. I'm gonna be okay, but still, miss you, Rohan.
Yeah. There's some pretty big locker room pieces that left last year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be up to, there's going to be some specific players that got to step up into that one. I mean, I know that Marcus Weir and Rohan and, those guys were kind of the goofballs locker room guys.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see who steps up to fill their shoes there.
Yeah.
Ty was kind of the leader of the team. And yeah, so there's opportunities for guys to, really step up and, create a whole new something.
And there's just a huge gap in leadership left by Tommy leaving.
Yeah.
And I don't mean a gap as in it's going to stay that way. It is a vacuum where somebody's going to have to rise up and become that leader and fill in those shoes. And that's going to be very tough to fill.
Yeah. I feel like we should place a bet on who we think the starting quarterback week 1 is going to be.
Oh, that sucks. I don't like that. I don't like it at all. Because it puts me in a bad spot because I know who you're going to pick, and then I can't pick the same guy. And
okay, I'll let you go first. How about that?
No, because I want to make it interesting. Pick. I don't want to just pick the guy that was backup last year, and I like him a lot. He's thrown some really incredible passes. Okay, but let's go. We're going to go to Mr. Sam Herder's 5 questions for the offseason, and it will tie into this conversation.
Perfect.
So, Sam Herder, the god of FCS journalism, he's posting 5 offseason questions for, I think it's all the top 8 teams, all the teams that made the semifinals. And he released his 5 questions about the Montana State football program. So I thought we would run through those real quick to finish out this episode, okay? The first one, we don't have to talk about this for very long because I know what our answers are going to be, and I don't know if you've looked at this, but the first question is, did Montana State miss its national championship window? No. In Vegan, we trust. As long as Vegan's there, national championship is still on the table.
I don't even think as long as Vegan's there.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Vegan is installing something that we've not seen before.
Yeah.
This thing that just keeps churning out elite level talent every year by recruiting the correct people and nurturing them and growing them to what you need. And that goes with the coaching staff too.
Mm-hmm.
Just that constant wheel that's continuing to turn. And I think that when he's done with Montana State, I think that we'll be in a spot that we can contend whenever we want to.
Mm-hmm. I have a hard time trusting people beyond a certain point just because of what Vegan has done for the program, and I don't know who the next guy is going to be, and I'm not saying that they're going to be bad. I'm just saying I'm not going to trust them until I see it.
So I didn't see this article. Did he post his answer to these questions, or are these just questions he posed?
He talks about them. Like, he talks about the question. I don't think there's any firm answers in here. It just kind of breaks down what the layout of the land is.
Sure.
What the situation is, and For this one, he broke down how all the top 8 teams, which players they lost on offense and defense. And really, there's nobody that's unscathed.
No.
I mean, NDSU has 5 out of their 11 on offense and 7 out of 11 on defense, so they kept a lot of guys. But there's teams that are in worse shape than us, like South Dakota State and Idaho, who have South Dakota State has 4 returning starters for offense and defense, and Idaho has 5 returning starters, offense and defense.
Yeah, so. Yeah, it's going to be a tough. Well, maybe not, but probably not going to be a super fun year for either one of those programs. But you never know.
No, it definitely is.
What's next?
The next question that we already alluded to is, who is the quarterback?
I'll let you have Chance Wilson. I think it'll be Chance Wilson. But I'm gonna let you have him.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a dark horse.
Okay. Who's your dark horse?
I think Jordan Reed is going to figure it out.
Okay.
He's been in this program for quite a while now. He's tall. He has an arm. I think this is a time where Jordan Reed, and I shouldn't even call him a dark horse. I mean, he was the backup quarterback until I think he got hurt. I'm not really sure.
That's the whole thing, is he's an enigma. I don't know what's going on with Jordan Reed because we haven't seen him in so long.
Yeah. I mean that being said, I think Chance Wilson's probably the guy, but Jordan Reed has the experience. He's been there for quite a while. I think there's a chance that he could be the guy. I think he'll going to figure something out. I think the quarterback battle will be between those two guys.
Yeah.
But I also say, don't count that River Warren out. That dude's a baller.
River Warren looks like a Gen Z quarterback, and I'm not saying that is a bad thing. That's just what these new college quarterbacks coming in look like. But he's got this, I don't know, he just looks like he's Gen Z quarterback. I don't know what I'm saying by that, but it's not a bad thing. I'm just saying he seems young, he seems exciting, seems fresh, number 1 quarterback out of the state of Oklahoma. Definitely could see that happening. I don't know. Jordan Reed, just the way he would play when he was filling in and the mixture of passing and running that he could do, I feel like it would fit if we were going to keep a similar system.
Yeah. I mean, I still think Chance Wilson is the closest thing to Tommy. Like if you were looking for a true, if you didn't want to change the offense a ton, I think Chance Wilson is the closest thing to Tommy that we have.
Yeah.
I mean, he is hyper athletic. He does have a beautiful arm. And I think he's probably the logical choice, but I just have this feeling that Jordan Reed is going to figure it out.
Yeah. I don't think anybody's Tommy, and I know that's not what you're saying. Chance Wilson just strikes me more as like a gunslinger. Tommy was a tactician, and he would pick you apart, and he would make the perfect decision every single time. Chance Wilson strikes me as you go off schedule, he has to scramble out of the pocket, and he can still make some ridiculous pass over the middle out of nowhere that nobody sees on the field except for him.
Yeah.
But the problem is we've only seen him do that like once a game. And then the rest of the time it didn't look great, but he's young and he was getting his reps. So it's not hating on him, not saying that he can't be the guy. But Jordan Reed, when you look at his stature, when you look at his athleticism, when he did seem more impressive when he came in as a backup role, and I wonder if it was an injury or if it was a coach's decision to keep Chance Wilson as the backup for the rest of the year. I don't know. It's an enigma.
Yeah, not sure what happened there. I do think that when we have our spring game, I think quarterback on one side will be Chance Wilson, quarterback on the other side will be Jordan Reed. And I think that'll tell a lot.
Do you want to know what my toxic trait is?
What's that?
I don't look forward so much to seeing Chance Wilson versus Jordan Reed as I do River Warren versus Grant Vegan. That's what I would rather see.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see these two young guys and see what they can do, because I think that Grant Vegan can spin it, and I would call him the dark horse to just break through, and all of a sudden he's the quarterback.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah.
I mean, as a homeboy Montana kid myself, I mean, you have to root for, Grant Vegan, or Gallatin Raptor.
Mm-hmm.
But then you got Patrick Duchesne. What did he play for, Columbia Falls?
I think so, yeah. That sounds right. I
mean, it would be so cool to see one of those guys take the helm. A Montana kid passes it to a Montana kid. I mean, I love our out-of-staters. But it would be cool to see the torch pass to another Montana kid. But that's just me being selfish.
Yeah. It makes sense. Next question, okay? How dynamic will the offense be?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
That's a really good question. The running game, I don't think the running game loses steam. Honestly, no. I mean, do you?
No.
Yeah. I don't see it. I don't see it happening. I mean, Scottrade is good, but he isn't Julius Davis healthy is one of the best running backs I've ever seen in person.
Yeah, that is true. The angriest runner of all time, the most driven person I've ever seen, and just the most exciting.
He's the only player I have ever seen that rivals Saquon Barkley's hurdles.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, let's be honest here.
He hasn't done one in reverse yet. I want to see Julius Davis pull off the spin move. That's what he's got to get.
That rivals him. I mean, He has the most beautiful hurdles I've ever seen, and he's the only. He was finally starting to get healthy again.
Yeah,
and he was the running back that was having success against UC Davis.
Yeah,
nobody else was finding success against.
Yeah.
I think that the running game behind a stellar O-line holds it together, and I think that the running game is just as dynamic as it was last year. It's just a passing game. We're not sure. We're not sure who the quarterback's going to be. Our wide receiver room's going to look a lot different. Yeah. I think our passing maybe takes a bit of a step back, but I don't think it's going to be like ultra dramatic.
Yeah, I think we'll see a more. I don't think it's going to be a major change. It's going to lean on the run game as it always has, and hopefully we find the right quarterback to make those big chunk plays, 20 yards to a tight end, 20 yards on the outside, the occasional long touchdown to Taco or somebody like that. The pass catchers are still there, so you got to give them somebody that can feed them the ball.
I mean, we still have to remember we have. The tight end room is so deep.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you still have. We haven't even seen what Leuven's Valson and, my name recall is just terrible right now. But the kid from Rocky Lencioni.
Yeah.
We don't even know what these kids can do yet.
Yeah.
I mean, Leuven's Valson was. He is highly touted out of high school. I mean, this kid, that kid was special coming out of high school.
For sure.
He's had his year, and I wouldn't be surprised to see, a good bit of him out there. I don't think the offense will be quite as explosive. Mm-hmm. I just don't think it'll be that dramatic of a drop off, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, compared to what Montana State's team was last year, there's always going to be some kind of drop off. It's not going to be the end of the world, but it's going to be a different type of season.
Yeah. I mean, we're not going to blow every team out every single week. That's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm. All right, fourth question. You ready?
Yeah.
We kind of already covered this a little bit. How does the secondary rebuild?
Well, yeah, we kind of already covered it. I fully expect to see Takari Carr, Taden Gray, Taki Yu, Tyson Pottinger heavily involved, not to mention there were, our secondary recruiting classes from last year and even our early signing period, a few months ago,
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, I can't remember his name, but there was a kid from Houston, played 6A football that was, kind of recruited as possibly a day one starter. Yeah. It's going to be up to the coaching staff to figure out how to move these pieces around and how to fill specific areas because pretty much everybody is gone.
So I'm looking through Mr. Herder's article right now, and the more I look at the names that he has listed on our defense, the more I think the secondary might not even matter that much. Because the other team's quarterback is going to be under duress every single second of every game. He's going to be hounded even when he's on the sideline, and the defense for Montana State isn't even on the field.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough. You got Kenny Iden, Paul Brott, Alec Eckert, Zach Cruz, Hunter Parsons, Zach Black, Neil Daly, Bryce Grebe.
Yeah.
Those are all dudes.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. We knew that, leaving the North Dakota State game that, we lost Brody Grebe.
Yeah.
We lost some big name guys that, guys that are going to be extremely hard to fill, but the pieces that have been put in place behind them were legit.
And they're ready. They are fully ready to be starters.
I already said this once, but don't be sleeping on Takari Carr and Taden Gray. Those two are freaking studs, man. I'm telling you. They played well, and it's not like they were just playing in the second half. Those guys were playing when starters needed a breath, or in the first halves of games. They were trusted out there as super young guys.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a new look secondary, no doubt.
Yeah.
But I think that maybe the secondary is, looking at the Big Sky Conference, maybe isn't I don't know that the opposing offenses are that great this year. So
yeah, it's gonna be a weird year for the Big Sky Conference. I don't know. There's a lot of new blood.
Yeah. The Big Sky Conference lost more talent this year than I think maybe I've seen in the last quite a few years. You're talking guys like, what's his name from UC Davis? That guy was
Lan Larison.
Yes, but the quarterback,
Miles Hastings.
You could call him one of the better FCS quarterbacks.
Yeah, he threw for a lot of yards.
The kid from Eastern Washington, not even going to try and pronounce his name. That kid was a total stud.
Yeah.
It's just I don't think the Big Sky Conference is going to be great this year, and I don't know that they have the quarterback play to really stress a young secondary.
UC Davis kept 7 out of their 11 starters on offense. Obviously lost some of the pieces that made it a great offense. And they lost all but 3 of their defensive starters. So it's going to be tough for them. And Idaho, I already mentioned, lost a lot of players. So all the major teams that were in the semifinals for the Big Sky Conference lost a lot of players.
You're legitimately looking at, possibly Northern Arizona. They were kind of knocking at the door. I know they lost some guys too. I think they'll probably be okay. The Grizzlies, who knows what happens with that hodgepodge of dudes. And the Bobcats, and Portland State's going to be terrible. Cal Poly is going to be dreadful. Sac State is just like you used that word earlier, an enigma. We have no idea what Sac State's going to be like.
Yeah.
So it's going to be weird. And so tying that all back in, I think that this maybe is the year to have a young secondary.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of new quarterbacks in the conference. I can tell you that.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. And we have one last question from Mr. Herder. I don't think this is something that we're super interested in, but how many scholarship level players will MSU have? to frame this question, the rules have changed in the NCAA, and NCAA we no longer have a scholarship limit. We have a player limit. So Montana State can roster up to 105 players. They can scholarship 70, I think, and then they can fill the rest with NIL money that's basically scholarships. So they can go up to 105. But he's asking how many people can you actually draw into a program that are going to be actual scholarship level guys, which is tough.
I have no idea.
Exactly. I don't even know how to answer that question. This is where Mr. Sam Herder is Mr. Sam Herder, because he can answer a question like this, and I have no clue.
Yeah, there's a reason why people turn to him when they want answers, and not us.
Apparently, this is a big deal that Montana State opted into this because we can sign a lot more players now. But our problem was never quantity. Our problem, we've never had a problem getting quantity, but we've focused on quality more. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, and that's I feel like that's kind of obvious. They want specific guys, not a bunch of guys.
I don't even know how you even manage 105 college guys.
Good luck.
Yeah, I'm glad that guys like Vegan are the head coach and not guys like me, because if I had to manage 105 dudes in college, it'd be trouble. You're having like a few problems a year. I can tell you that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, okay. I like that list. That was fun.
That was good. That was good.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to leave the podcast with?
I'm thinking our next episode, we should break down who we think is going to start on our roster, go through it positionally, and just kind of break it down with what we think is going to happen at each position, because that's going to take a while to knock that one. Yeah,
the like the Cats Pod 2 deep roster, the way too early Cats Pod 2 deep roster.
Yep.
That sounds like a good idea to me. I'm in.
We still got to do our way too early predictions for when we just lose our absolute ever-loving mind.
We haven't even touched on the schedule yet, and we're not doing that today. We're already over an hour. Definitely not doing that today.
Yeah.
But it is an exciting schedule.
I would like to start a segment where we get to trash talk NDSU for about 15 minutes. It doesn't have to be weekly, but
you took those comments personally. I can tell you took those comments personally.
Yes.
I'm still waiting on my hug from that lady that asked if I needed a hug. I said yes. I said yes, I need a hug, and I still haven't gotten it yet.
Yeah. So, yeah. We have a lot with our multiple week layover here. We have a lot to get into in the coming weeks.
Mm-hmm.
A lot.
So look forward to it. It's coming along.
Yeah. Stay tuned, boys and girls.
All right. Have a great week, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Hopefully we didn't give you all of the wrong information this week. Go ahead and follow us on Instagram and X at CatsPod. Check us out on YouTube at The CatsPod. And we will catch you guys the next time we are inspired.
Adios.